is Victor. I'm here with a new tutorial, and this is also part of a challenge thrown to me by Paul and Vince from the Excellent Hobby Adventure. You will find the link below to the video. They are going to do in the next weeks the challenge to do a freehand on cloaks or banners or anything, any flat surface. So I will paint this wood elf. Well, I will paint this and elf that came in the Warhammer Quest kit, and I will paint him as a wood elf, and I will do here a freehand on the cloak, and also in the inside I will do some freehand. The idea here at the back is do like nature pattern where I will play only with different greens. So the cloak will be all green and the pattern will be with different green. And the inside I think I will put some elf runes. The idea here is to show how to do easy patterns for cloaks, easy freehands. That is very interesting when you want to start doing freehands, to start with something that is easy to do. Is a pattern that if you deviate a little bit from the pattern is not very interesting. For what I mean by that, if you do, for example, a check pattern, you have to do squares. If you deviate from the squares, the people will notice very easily. If you do like a abstract pattern that is like a vegetarian pattern, like I will do like spirals and something like that, if you deviate, is not that difficult, and it's a great way for you to learn about how to do freehands. I always, when I start doing freehands, I start with my Bretonian doing simple patterns, and then I went to my complex. I will do another video showing different freehands and what is the difficulty and what is the way to handle freehands. So let's go. The idea here is to paint this only with greens, maybe some browns, but I will limit my palette, my color palette to greens and maybe some browns. I will try to avoid yellows and any other color. So let's start with the tutorial. So I will start applying the base colors to see how the different greens interact between each other, and I will start using a striken green. So I shake it well, and I will use this in the cloth, in that cloth here. So this is quite a light green. And most likely we'll need 2 layers. As you can see, it's not covering perfectly over the black. Then I will also avoid, I think I will only use the metallics on the sword. And this bell that sometimes I saw this painting gold, I will simulate this to be like a hard leather. So I will also use browns. I want to make it very wood elf, very forest thematic. So this is why I want to limit the palette. I imagine him being camouflaging himself in the forest and just ambushing the people that are in the forest. So this is why I want to go for greens, and I go for like a spring type of motifs. The other thing that can combine very well here is to do some pink. I'm still thinking maybe I will do a little bit of decoration with pink color, but I'm not sure yet. First I will apply the basic colors to see how the different greens interact with each other, how it's looking like. So I will just now do the base paint job. So here I apply a striking green on this cloth. Okay, and I will be back once this part is finished. So to avoid to make this video too long. So the base color on these clothes are done. I leave here, I made a mistake, this have to go in a different color as well as here. So I leave it this undone. And I will do now the pants and the sleeves with the same color. And I will use Caliban green, sorry. We'll use Caliban green to do these parts. So I will make them these parts very dark to contrast with the clothes. And as my plan is to use camo type of colors like the Castellan green for the cape, this will contrast very well with the cape color, although both are going to be dark, because this is like, we'll say, more bluish green, and the other one is more like a brownish green, more camo type of color. So I will paint this again, thin the paint down as you can see, and do thin layers on the pants. This is quite a basic miniature, you can paint it very easy, and I choose this one to do this challenge because when you want to do freehand and if you want to do nice freehand, it's better that you start practicing in easy surfaces. Capes and banners and standards are the base surfaces to start practicing your freehand. If you go to complex clothes with a lot of folds and a lot of rings, this makes the freehand very difficult, and you have then to start thinking how the pattern that you try to paint or the drawing that you try to do is being deformed by the folds, and it's making the work much difficult. So I normally, if you want to do something complex or you want to do freehand, it's good. It's also important, especially if you're starting, to choose correctly the model where you want to put the freehand and where you want to put it, because if not, you can find yourself in a very difficult situation trying to do freehand on a very difficult surface. So again, here I will apply a thin layer of this Caliban green, dark color to contrast with the clothes, and yeah, and different green than the one I will use for the cloak later on. So I will apply this color and I will be back. So now you see that let me take this the dark green is applied, and the next step I will apply the main green on the cloak, and I will use as a base color Castellan green on the cloak. And now we are going to have the three main greens on applied. This will give me the whole, all the greens are matching, and if I need any complementary color and how to apply it. While I was painting this and I was looking more into the details, I realized that there are some hairs as decoration. There is a hair. We have a hair here, and we have a hair here. I will paint them pink. So enable to have more unified colors, and maybe this is contrasting with the will not match that much with the camo way, but to give a accent color, I will put green here, green and pink here on the course, and I will use pink on these things here. And then I was thinking to make runes on this part, on this part that have this decoration, but what I will do is I will reproduce a pattern of hairs all over this cloak. So this is my objective now, and then the inside of the cloak, most likely I will leave it free of a lot of decoration. I try to concentrate my decoration on this part of the cloak, and on the back. So now I apply the base color. Okay. On the cloak, and I will see how this is matching with the rest of the work that I already did. Here, and this is quite an old miniature, so the detail is not extremely awesome. It's not the same type of detail that Today Games Workshop is putting on the miniatures, but I think for the purpose and for the challenge, as I want to focus on the freehand later on, I think it's good enough. And to show the basic techniques is also good enough. So again, here on when we have big surfaces, be sure that you thin your paint, and more likely you will need to do a couple of layers to avoid to see the brush strokes. So I will apply this color, and I will we'll be back once I finish. Yeah, so here I did a small mistake, but it's not important. So I will also do the hood of the cloak and the back. So yeah, I will be back and I will show you how it's looking like once this color is completely applied. So the base colors on green are done, and now I'm going to apply XV88 on the parts that I want to be brown. And these are going to be the boots. Okay. And as you can see now in this stage, I'm just applying all the base colors to see how they interact, and then I can use the washes to make the color darker, or the highlights to make the color lighter. So this is the objective I'm doing now. Now this brown is quite light sometimes for leather, but my plan is to make a wash later on to make it darker. So okay, I will apply this on the bell and on the bracelets, and I will be back in a minute. You can see this first part has not a lot of mystery, just applying the base colors and apply thin layers to avoid clog any detail. In the back you see I applied a nice even layer that you cannot see the brush strokes, so I will keep working on that. And I will be back once I apply the brown. So brown is applied, and now next step that I will do is I will start applying I will apply darker brown here on the middle of the bow. So I will use Reynolds height to do this darker part here in the middle, and after that we are going to be ready to start doing the first washes, because then we are going to see how the final thing is looking like. We have we have the knife also there at the back. I will apply a different brown to make it different. As you see, I use the same brown on the bow and the boots. This is done in purpose. Here I have this is from the sword. This is done in purpose, but I will not apply the wash on the bow, so it will leave the bow lighter, and I will apply the wash on the boots with Agua shade. So this is also paint this having this in mind, the same color. So you can see almost all the base colors are applied, and once I apply the base colors I will do some washes to see how the final color looks like, and then I will start painting the flesh tones, because especially the head is the face is here instead of the hood. So I will start, and I will leave the freehand on the cape maybe for one of the last things to do, because it's very exterior and it's very easy that you put your finger on top of that. So I don't want to ruin the freehand after being done. I know that maybe it's the most interesting part of this painting work, but sometimes you have to be patient and leave it for the end. So this dark brown is applied here. I will take another light brown. I will do the extreme of, I will use Loden Forest to make this bottom part of the cloak. So to do this part I will use to make it different from the rest of the cloak. So I will use Lorem Forest here. I will apply this one. Okay. You see I will also need 2 layers. This color is not covering perfectly on top of black. So I will do that, and I will be back in a minute. So now the next step that I will do is I will apply Agvax Air Shade, and I will apply it in all the dark green parts and the wood parts except the bow. So I will start from the top, and I will apply, especially here on the hood. You want to create a nice shading inside, so I will apply nicely there. Then here it will help to create a nice border, a nice separation of colors, making the shade darker in the parts. And we are going to apply the wash on the hood and the cloak, and I will also do here on the sleeve and on the leather parts. Of course, after applying this we need to let it dry. So, and as each time that we apply a wash, try to make it evenly, try not to forget any spot, because this is one of the key parts of applying the wash, is to make evenly distribute. Some wash will drip to the bottom of the cloak, so you have to be careful not to put too much wash, especially in flat areas, because will look there at the beginning. Don't worry if it's looking there right now. We are going to clean the wash later on. So this is just to create the first shade, and also it's helping later on to know where to apply highlights. Here you can see I will do this all this part on camera, and you will see how I completely applied the white there. As you can see, I'm using round base this time, so this will be one of my first fantasy miniatures on round bases. Don't know exactly how I'm going to do this base. Most likely it's going to be forest theme. I will look for some cork. The miniature is not glued to the base, it's just clipped in the slot. It's one of the 25mm base. Then I will do this part, the bell, and the bell we have to be a little careful. I don't want to dirt, so I want to create this border here. It's this shade in the border, but I don't want that dirtening the light green. Here I will just apply a little bit here to make this part darker, and then the sleeves. This helps a lot when you do a wash. The detail is popping up a lot, so it's helping a lot to see if you miss any detail or anything. So for example, now I see that there's like wings around the hair that are on the bracelets, so it's interesting to know these things. Here on the folds I will apply a little bit more to be sure that all the recesses in the folds are darker. You can see this is, here there's too much accumulated, so I will take a little bit off. To take off, just dry your brush, put your brush next to where it's accumulated the wash. For example, here I just take the ink out, the wash out, put the brush next to that, and then I suck all the excess. So this is the wash. It's like it's very rough wash. We'll let it dry before doing next step, and then I will be back to do the next step. So now Alvax L shade is dry except here in the hole because there is a little bit of accumulation of paint. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to do a wash with, how it's called this, it's the Camo shade. I think it's the Thonian or the Thonian Camo shade. So it's one of the green shades from Games Workshop. It's the one that have a camo touch. So it's I will do a wash on the light green parts. Then after that we will have the miniature ready to start doing highlighting and details. So we do this, and again we have to wait until this is completely dry. So apply here. By the way, I'm using the glaze medium brush to do all these washes. So here I will put a little bit more. Okay, I do that and I will wait until this dries. So next step that I will do, I will use Retribution Armor to do the guard of the sword. So I will do this part here on the sword. And I will apply also here. As you can see, this gold works perfectly on top of black, it's very thin and it's covering exceptionally well black. Here have to be careful here because the engrave is not very deep. I want to avoid that we lose the engrave, the detail. And then I will apply here on the part that is the joint of the armor. So if I'm showing, I'm painting also this the small hair there, paint everything, and then I will paint the hair later on. And this ring around the gem in the middle. Don't worry if you do the gem, the important is to do well the ring. Okay? Okay, next step. What I did first ago, because now I want to do the pink and I will do also the hairs. So I will use Emperor's Children pink. And with that pink, first I will do these borders here. this one here. And here. Normally when you do that, I use the brush horizontally, and then it's much easier to control where you apply the paint. You can see I tend to go a little bit horizontal. So this will do these things on the cloth in pink. Then we are going to paint the hairs that are here on the, you see the hair in the bracelet, same pink. We have another hair here in this bracelet. But what is important, I will do the one in the sword. I will not do all them now, just to show you that I will do these hairs. Now we are going to do the hairs on the cloak. And I will start from this side of the cloak. I'm going to do something like that. So you apply, I apply first one ball, another ball, and then I go down and you do like that. Okay. And we are going to follow this all over the, so separate a little bit. And the first one ball, second ball, go down, and now I finish this like that. And here the separation is too big, so I do something like that. The challenge here is going to be to make all the heads exactly on the same size. So this one, for example, is a little bit smaller than the next one, so I will try to make it bigger. We do like that to make it bigger. Okay, and we are going to do the same process all over the cloak. If it's too close like this one, I will correct a little bit. If I make a mistake like this one, I think I did too close. I let it dry. In the meanwhile, I will do the inside. And the inside, I will just do, I will not do the second part of the, I will also apply hairs. One, two, So this is the first pair of the you see. So 1, 2, then we finalize going down. Okay, we keep going. Here I will do some corrections. I take Lorraine Forest. The mistake is, if you don't like it how you start, I would recommend the best way to go is just apply Lorraine Forest and clean it up. Don't worry now you see that the Lorraine Forest, of course the Lorraine Forest is much clearer than the color we used before. So one thing we are going to use to minimize this effect when we do corrections is we are going to apply a little bit to clean the wash. For example, and we are going to apply this Lorraine Forest here. So in that way it's not going to be that visible when we do corrections. Okay, so I will keep doing hairs on the cape as you can see, and this is going to be always repetition of the same. I think I will do the rest of camera, so let me see if I knock off the camera. So one ball, another ball, we go down, and then we just do this curve. Of course, if you need to do corrections, wait until this is completely dry. Okay. And keep going. All this freehand is a matter of practice and making a lot of mistakes in the past. So if the only way to learn to do freehand is practicing, I always recommend one thing that helps a lot to start having control to do freehand is paint flames. Paint flames are not that difficult because they don't require repetition. So if you deviate, it's not noticeable. For example, this pattern can be more difficult because you have to do more or less the same hair every time. So sometimes this type of pattern I complicate in that way. Although this basic shape is not that difficult. As you see, I just do 2 balls, go down, then I start doing completing the shape of the hair. Of course, not all the hairs are going to be exactly the same, but the idea is that they are close enough. Okay. So I will keep doing that here, and I will be back once this is done. So as you can see now, all the hairs are done. This is what it's looking like. And yeah, I will finalize here this first part of the tutorial. As usual, I try to break the tutorial in smaller parts. It's easier for me to edit later on and to upload in YouTube. So be prepared for the second part. I hope you like what you have seen up to now. It's a little bit different from normal or standard wood elf, but I wanted to apply this pink and these hairs to make something different. So in the next part I will start working first on the flesh, and I will work on the freehand on the back of the cloak. So I hope you find this tutorial interesting so far. So thanks a lot for watching.